Here for a purpose, alive for a reason. Never allow anybody to look down on you. Never look down on yourself. Never underestimate yourself. Place value on yourself because that is what people will see, and also place value on you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Podcast with Sheila. Like we always do here, and for which this podcast was set up, is to tell real life stories to motivate and to elevate. And for our first recording, I will be telling you a personal life experience growing up. Now, I come from a family of 6, and this includes my dad, my brother, and 2 other sisters. I'm the second born girl, but the first girl. So the second born, but the first girl. I grew up in a family that was shielded. I grew up thinking that the world was a fair place to live in. I grew up thinking that if you've not offended anybody, then nobody will offend you. But to my surprise, it was the other way around. People brought the fight to your doorstep even when you've not called for it. So I've had to make mistakes and learn through the mistakes. And that is why I decided to set up a podcast to tell real life stories, real life experiences, positive life experiences for people to learn from what we did wrong and how we turned it around into a positive story and learn from it. So in growing up, my childhood was fun. My family, there was so much love in the family. I grew up with all my siblings at home, with both parents at home, in a Christian home. My growing up, I would say, was brilliant. I went to my formal education and then did my first degree. I came out of the university in 2005. And I came out with a first class honors. There was 2 of us in that year, and the lady ahead of me with the first class, we were apart by 0.2. So both of us were asked to serve in our department in the university. Now we were offered the opportunity to further our education into a master's and a doctorate degree to be able to become lecturers on campus, but we both declined because we had different pursuits. I wanted to branch into business because my background had always been art, and I was thinking of having my own business and managing it alongside as I grew up. So we declined, I declined, and came back home after my national service. And then, like we always do, went job hunting into the job market. For some reason, it was so tough for me to find a job. Even with my first class, nobody will hire me. And my colleagues who had a second class upper, second class lower, were finding jobs in the good places. And with the first class, I couldn't secure myself a good job. And this was a strain on me then. That was in 2005. And for some reason, everybody who came out of the university about then all went into banking, into the banking industry. Because then the banking industry was taking very good care of graduates, young graduates, giving them houses, giving them cars, paying them well. So that sector really seemed to be lucrative then, and everybody was going in there. And I also wanted to go in because as a young girl, you'd see everybody driving, living in their own houses, moving on in life from there. And it's so attractive, you'd want to go. Even though I didn't have banking as an option when I was coming out of the university, I had my own dreams, but I was drifted a bit. And this is where I'll pause to emphasize that we need to identify our purpose here on earth and not follow other people's dreams. We need to set our own dreams and have our own dreams. We are all unique in the making. We were created differently and we are all very unique. Now, everybody was created with a destiny and created with a task. Sometimes we never realize our relevance here on earth until later. Some people who are lucky enough happen to know their purpose here on earth and live through it from the beginning and become very successful. Others would have to keep knocking their heads on the door, on the walls as they go through until they finally realize what they were created to do and start living it. So I'll come back to this point by going on to my story. So I started going through the banks, putting my CVs, dropping my CVs. Sometimes I do get calls for interviews and all. I had a call for an interview for Barclays and I attended. I was employed, but I was employed as a director.